Hello and welcome back to the Seven Figure Standard podcast. I'm Mikey Stiller, joined by my co-host Arash Vasugi, and we are so thrilled to be back with you for another episode. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about why average effort creates average results. You have heard Arash on the podcast talk so many times about the importance of stacking wins and creating 3 wins a day. These are not just tasks. They are not a to-do list. They are things that actually move the needle and get you closer to your goal. So let's jump right in. Arash, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, number one, to change your life, you have to change. I was working with a group yesterday and I was telling them, I watch clients all the time who really win is because they change. So if we're going to change, we have to change our actions. We have to change what we're doing. Without action, it's delusion. When you work the ideas work. I say this all the time. You know, I have people that do exactly what I tell them to do. Their results change so dramatically. Mm-hmm. It's fresh in my mind. I had a client, Mike, who's been working with me for 60 days. They were so frustrated 60 days ago. And I told them, are you willing to do what I tell you? And I work with them on a few things. I work with them on leadership, attitude, communication with their team, and sales. So 4 things. And within 60 days, their results have blown up. I mean, within the first 30 days, but then I talked to them again, and we're at the 60-day mark. And I told them, I said, here's what I want you to remind yourself. What did you do to create this massive quantum leap in 60 days? And they said, I don't even know. We just did what you told me. And I said, so I pointed out what I work with them on. But I said, here's the thing I want you to learn. Do you know how many people don't do exactly what I tell them? They don't do the actions. You know, they love to study. They love to listen to our podcast, but they don't follow through. And I said, that's why they don't win. It's not about doing 50%. It's not about doing 60%. You've got to surrender to frameworks from somebody who already is creating the results. Mm-hmm. And that's why the 3 wins changed my life. Like 3 wins a day. Anybody can create 3 wins a day from their goal. But listen to what I'm saying, from your goal. And what I want everybody to think about, like, let me get in your logic, okay? Just put this in your mind. 3 wins 5 days a week is 15 wins. 15 wins times 90 days is 190 and a half wins. Like 194 and a half wins. Like, who is not going to create a quantum leap if they have 194 and a half wins? Yeah. You know, it is so critical, but here's where the game changes. When you take action with a swagger, with certainty, now the action every day, those 3 wins are like 10 wins because you're doing them different. You know, so it's not just checking the box and saying, I had a win. I had a win. Like, I'll have clients contact me and they'll be like, my win today was studying. That's not a win. Like, do you guys think brushing your teeth is a win? Studying is just part of what you do. You know, a win is getting your body into motion from your goal that is moving the needle, and you keep stacking them day in and day out. And that's where massive change happens.
Okay, so you just touched on both directions that I want to take this. And the first one is how they're creating the wins. There's so many times that people are meekly going after these action steps, tiptoeing to the action steps. But what you're saying is you have to go boldly into the action steps. You don't give 50% to the action step. You give 150% to the action step. Yes?
Yeah, but you do it, you normalize the action. That's the key. Because if you're trying to force the action, it's actually coming from lack and scarcity. But you want to normalize it like it's no big deal. Now, in the beginning, you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to do that. But when you train your mind, like, this is who I am and this is who I'm not, this is the actions I'm taking, it starts becoming a part of you, just like your normal actions. And so normalizing it is critical, so we're not forcing. When we force, the action is not going to be excellent. You just say, I'm going to do it and do it. I'll tell you this, I've said it so many times, and maybe people need to hear it again. 2 habits changed my life more than anything I've ever done. And I'm talking about towards action. The first was behaving before I was ready, doing something before I was ready. Because I'm going to tell you guys this, you're never going to be ready for a thing until you do it. That was the first thing. The second one was doing everything right away. I would just do it now. I would do it with urgency. And those two things literally have made us beyond 8 figures. But I've been doing it now for 18 years. Like, I haven't stopped doing it. Beautiful part is once it's a part of you, you'll never lose it. It will never leave you. It's like riding a bike. You know, we may have not ridden a bike. I'm aging myself like for 30 years, but you know, yesterday I was on a bike with my daughter and I still knew how to ride a bike. Well, same thing with behaving before you're ready. Once you start creating that habit, you're never going to not have it.
Does part of this lead into standard too? Like that intensity level becomes a part of the standard you operate from?
Yeah, everything is standard. You know, standard is the real us. It's who we really are. But I think where it really starts and ends, both the starting and ending, is commitment. You know, a lot of people have goals. Like, I want everyone to hear my voice. Like, do you have a wish or do you have a full-fledged, non-negotiable, no shit, no kidding, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to achieve? That's a goal. That's a commitment. And the commitment will always take you to the finish line. You know, like when I changed, I was willing to do things that other people weren't. That's why I just completely took off. Like, I can look back. It's always like you could look back at what you did, right? You never know it while you're doing it. You can't look forward, but you can look backwards. And I was willing to do things that other people won't do. I'm still willing to do things. I mean, you know, when I'm talking to you, I give you like 1,000 ideas. And I'm like, oh, I have another idea. I have this. And you roll your eyes at me sometimes, but I'm like, let's leverage that. Let's have someone else implement it. You know, like, because I'm always in motion. Like, I'm never satisfied. Satisfaction keeps people stuck. Dissatisfaction is so healthy. It's such a creative state, you know. But when I say dissatisfaction, it's not because I'm comparing it to anybody else, but it's because there's more in the tank. You know, there's more in the tank. And you always want to be grateful for what you have, but never be satisfied. Never, because there's so much all of us can do.
Do you think that sometimes people give themselves an out by saying that they're creating wins, but really they're just doing things that aren't really moving the needle?
Totally. 100%. You know, they say they're doing wins, but what are they measuring it to? You always want to measure it to your future. And I'm not asking you to be hard on yourself. I'm asking you to be honest. I mean, I tell our clients all the time. I tell you all the time. You know, change happens with honesty. Our greatest standard is honesty. Truth and honesty are critical to creating quantum leaps. Nothing is ever happening to us. It's happening for us if we're willing to learn the lesson. So if you look at just yesterday and say, what were the actions I took? How did I show up? Was I in the spirit? Did I have juice? Was I completely free? Or was I doing the same actions I've always done, the same way I've always done? Well, that's not an action. That's a reaction. That's just part of your programming. You're just operating like a robot. So, and we got to be intentional if we're going to change. But you know the beautiful part? I was using that client I was talking about. They've been so intentional and they're blown away. Like blown away. They can't even handle the amount of business they're doing now. And now we need to get them to hire more people. Like, how great is that? You know? But intention changes the game. It changes our mindset. It changes our programming. It changes the type of actions we take. And what we're doing is we're going into the possibilities instead of just saying, oh, I can't do that.
You know what I think would be helpful is if we give some examples of what does qualify as a win and some examples of what doesn't qualify as a win. For example, crushing your morning routine. In my opinion, that's an expectation, not a win. So yes, it's great, but I expect myself to do that. And it's not a win as far as the actions that are going to take me closer to my goal. You mentioned studying earlier as another great example.
Yeah, the morning routine, it's a win, but a different win. it's creating momentum in the day. I don't count that as one of my 3 big wins from my goal, but it is a win because if you're doing a kick-ass morning routine, you have like 4 mini wins before you even start the day. So it creates a lot of momentum, but it's not the win. It's a different type of win, right? The wins that I'm talking about are the actions. These bold actions that you take. And they can be little actions. It can be prospecting 10 people, but prospecting in a certain way. Like I tell people this all the time, Mike. I'm like, if they plateaued and they went backwards, I said, for the next 24 months, you got to work hard. You got to work hard for 24 months. Like I'm talking about somebody like basically starting over. You got to work hard for 24 months. You're going to work more. But then once you hit that 24-month mark, it's going to be effortless. I mean, it'll be effortless for 24 months, but I'm giving them a direction. Like, I want you just to commit 2 years of your life to create the next 40 years so differently. Would you trade that? And I always go, yeah. Because if you start stacking every 90 days with these 3 wins, you're going to have massive quantum leaps each quarter. But I want you to do it long term. I want you to be a marathon runner, not just a sprinter. I want your results to be, this is just who I am, and it's part of your paradigm.
That's actually a great point, talking about the 2 years that you just spoke about, because what you're doing is you're creating momentum. So you create the 3 wins a day for 2 years. You have so much momentum that it would be hard to stop at that point.
Yeah, it just because it's exciting. It's literally like a drug. You have this dopamine release. You feel so good. But then what happens is when you're doing it, you're not going to be attached to the results. You're not going to be attached to the outcome. The people who are attached to the outcome, trust me, I used to be one of them, so I could speak with great authority on this. When I was attached to the outcome because I wasn't doing shit, it was like, that's just the truth, right? And when you get into action, it's like you feel so good, right? And then you're like, no, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. You're going to get less and less attached. And even if you get attached, because that's normal, every once in a while, but you're going to catch it and say, no, I'm going to just do my work. The thing that we've got to understand is we've got to measure our activities each day. We got to measure our thinking. We got to measure our believing and not measure day to day the results, because the results are going to fluctuate day to day. Okay. But over 90 days, you could look back and say, wow, look at the results, right? So I want everyone to look at their results right now. I want everyone to take a good picture of their results in their mind. Is this what you want? If it is, you're doing a lot of right things. If it's not, you've got to commit to this. It'll change your life. It'll make it so much more fun. It'll make it so much more effortless, and you're going to be so much looser. I want everybody to operate their day completely loose.
So good. If you think about your goal in the beginning, it's just an idea, and you're the only one who's breathing life into it and giving it life. And these action steps that you're taking every day are what's giving it life. The wins every day are what get you to a point where your goal is giving life back to you. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, always. I mean, you have to give life to the goal, and the goal gives you life by putting the right people in front of you, making the right connections, So your network is important. We should do a podcast on network, because your network creates your net worth. And who is in your network? Are you the person who is doing everything by yourself? You don't want to be that. You want to be around people who you're learning from their models. I always say, I'm so great I have been for a long time at implementing other people's models that I respect. You can always learn. So that's where the game changes.
So we started this podcast by saying average effort creates average results. And I really want to hammer that point home, because I think sometimes we think, well, I'm taking action, I'm doing things. But if we're not being honest with ourselves, brutally honest, and taking the time to evaluate what we're doing and the effort we're putting in, we might be left with results that we're not totally happy with.
So you'll know when someone's taking average effort because they're doing what's comfortable. That's average effort. They're putting the work in. They really want the results for sure, but they're not willing to get out of their comfort zone. They're not willing to be bold. They're not willing to change. That goes back to my beginning. None of this works until you decide to change. Deciding to change doesn't mean listening to a podcast. It doesn't mean reading a book. Nothing wrong with them. I do both, but it's about the implementation. It is about, did I implement this? I don't know who I was talking to. Maybe I did this on our past podcast, but I go through, I'm an avid student, and I go through a book of notes that I write every month. Every month I'll fill out a book of notes, but what I like to do, I'll open the book of notes maybe from a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, and I'll look and I go, did I implement that? Is that what I'm doing? I always use that, and some of them I haven't, so it gives me, okay, this would be valuable to implement, right? So when you put a real meaning to why you're doing them and really decide who you're going to be, really make it mean something, the average effort's going to go away. It is going to go away. Now, here's what's going to happen. A lot of people are like, that sounds good, but how do you do it? How do you really stay on task to do that every day? Every day you recommit to your goal. Every day is day one. Every day. And when you do that, you're going to really create great results. I like going in front of the mirror at the night when I'm brushing my teeth and I say, did I put it all out there? Because this is the only day I have. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say, I put it all out there. So you see the difference between average effort and intentional effort and relentless actions. So it's really so simple. 3. Anybody can have 3 wins today. I want you to challenge yourself to have 3 wins for the next 1,000 days. Watch how much your life is going to change, but every day is day one. It will become a habit, just like a lot of the habits all of you listening to this have right now. Excuses is a habit. So what is excuses? Giving ourselves an out. It's a habit, right? Yeah. So we want to really tune in because there's no limit to what you could create. There's absolutely no limit.
Well, and to that same point, being average or taking average action is also a habit. You gave such a great example. You said, a lot of people want to listen to the podcast and read the book, and there's nothing wrong with that. We both do that. In fact, you have podcasts and books out there of your own. But what stops them from taking the action and doing the implementation? What is it that is that barrier that they need to overcome?
It's really commitment. Like I said, unless you commit to change, you're not going to change. Unless you commit to achieving your goal, you're not going to achieve your goal. What people do is they always are accepting lesser goals. Oh, today I didn't do it. Well, today's going to turn into tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to turn into next week. It's like quitting. You quit once, you think it's no big deal. Then quitting becomes a habit, right? Well, guess what? Winning becomes a habit. You have to learn how to win. So my question is, have you been taught how to win? I had to learn how to win. I had to learn how to serve. These are all, everything I'm talking about and teaching, they're all learnable skills. But doesn't it sound funny? I have to learn how to win. You absolutely need to learn how to win. Winning is a model. Everything we do in life you have a framework to it. And so is winning. But have you ever met anybody who wins, who has no purpose, who has no passion, who really is just existing? I've never met that person. No. So the first thing is you've got to decide you're going to spend the time anyway, right? With your goals. So you got to decide, I'm going to achieve this. This is who I am. It doesn't matter if it takes 3 months, if it takes 6 years. If the goal means something to you, the idea of the goal is going to use you and stretch you and grow you. The goal is more for us than it is for us to achieve the outcome of the goal. The goal is for us to show ourselves what we're capable of. I want all of you to show yourself what you're capable of. Imagine what your life would look like, but all it is deciding, it's commitment, and it's 3 wins a day. That's all it is.
So good. All right, Arash, let's jump into an action step for today.
So what I would love, where are we? We're going in close to September, okay?
Well, by the time this airs, it will be September.
Okay, so September, do a 30-day test. I just want you guys to see it for yourself. Like, don't even listen to me. Let's pretend I don't know what I'm talking about and say, I want to test the model and see if it works. I want you for the month of September to go all in with 3 wins a day, go all in and recommitting every day is day one. And for 30 days, I want you to test if I know what I'm talking about. Go for 3 wins every day from your goal. And I want you to constantly just be free and loose. Watch what's going to happen. Your identity is going to change. Your standards are going to grow. The opportunities that you were saying no to, you're going to start saying yes to. In 30 days, you're going to see the magic of this.
Yeah. All right, Arash, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you. If you want to join us in person in Dallas, Texas, Arash will be here November 4th and 5th for our Transform Live event. We do this event one time a year and it is truly transformational. We would love to meet you in person. So go to vosscoachingco.com for all the details. And if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and leave us a rating and review. And most importantly, share this with your friends and family or on social media. And we'll see you next week with another episode of the 7-Figure Standard podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachingco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7-Figure Standard.